What's your cord, Connie?
Hi, everybody.
There you go.
On my dad's
How much are you?
Nobody yesterday with you?
I did.
I did too. That's a pretty good deal.
You kidding? If you out in town at all,
It's worth it.
well worth it.
They sold out, my wife went up to Bluefield yesterday. They were selling up there.
Yeah.
And she got there probably about 5:10, they was over 10 tonight. There was already lying.
Really?
Those guys.
I wonder if she sold all she had down here.
Yeah, she did. A couple people have contacted me. They wanted to buy them for business for Christmas.
Yeah. But they're a gift.
Well, they would. The problem was, we're worried about selling that thing at one time.
Yeah.
They want to buy like $1,000. It was just tough to, you know.
Yeah.
There were so many.
Well, it's tough to make that coffee out of line of people.
Right, right. That's what you want.
Yeah. We got contact with everybody?
Except Mary Ann.
Okay.
Richard, can you hear us?
Richard, are you on there? Adrian, Rod?
I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Rod.
Be great.
Yes, I'm here as well.
You're Adrian?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we can hear you. Richard, are you there?
We gotta make sure he's on board and that forward.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get him or, did you say Rick was coming? Jeff, did you say?
I just saw, I'd seen Tony at Carter, and she
Yeah.
just made the mention that, you know, this was his last
Right.
hoorah or something, so I'm assuming he was coming.
Okay. Back the door.
I think I've got you now, if you can hear me.
Now, I can hear you now, Richard.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, sounds like we're good to go. I'll call the meeting to order, stand for invocation and pledge. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, God, we pray that you'll watch over us and guide us this night. Help us, Lord, to have the mind and heart to serve the town of this people in the way that will please you. We ask God for those that are sick and afflicted, that you touch them. Guide the doctors and nurses' hands, Lord, as they care for them. Go with the school system and all of our employees, Lord, during this time, and help us to gain strength from the fact that we know this virus will be overcome. We ask all these things and give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I've got a few, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
We need to add for council's consideration, tonight, ordinance 2020-1201. That is it should have been included in your council packet. On reviewing the calendar, it came to my attention that the January meeting, will fall 2 days after the 60-day period on the emergency ordinance that we enacted to be able to conduct these meetings by Zoom. So I've prepared a readoption ordinance that I would request council take up tonight.
Great.
Then I have a few executive session additions to add as well.
Okay, can we add them under what we've already got there to go into executive session?
Yeah, we can add, I've got them listed right here.
Okay,
That would be to go into executive session pursuant to 2.23711A7 to discuss actual probable litigation, pursuant to 2.23711A8 for consultation with legal counsel regarding a specific legal issue, specifically a charter amendment process, and 2.23711A29 to discuss negotiation of a public contract.
I'll probably get you guys to do that.
In my comments, Mayor, I'd like to add, the town of Richlands' computer network design project that I'm abstract to get to do. Okay.
Who's going to do it during your comments?
Now, what I want to do is basically recognize.
Okay. Ready? I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Mr. Richard, I need to bring something up. I'm
Okay,
having some technical issues here.
okay.
I think, with the absence of our former clerk, we need to go ahead before we begin this meeting and appoint Connie Allen as an interim so she can actually take the votes and stuff for this meeting.
I believe we do, Mr. Mayor.
You want to make that motion, Richard, or just get it taken care of now?
Yes, sir, I'll make a motion to appoint Connie Allen as the interim clerk for the town council.
A second,
I'll second that.
a second, roll call vote. Connie?
Can I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
When we go into closed session for personnel, I think that we should discuss the compensation for the clerk.
Okay, we can do that under personnel, can we not, Wayne?
We can.
Okay, we can do that, Mary Ann.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yes.
and Rob.
Yes.
Are all you guys on Zoom being able to hear okay?
I can hear, I can't see. I'm trying to work it out the seating part of it.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, Mary Ann?
I can also, just fine.
Good. So, agenda approved as amended. Approval of the minutes. I've got one change that needs to be brought up, and,
That motion was to approve, maybe take the note. So now we need to approve the agenda.
I'm sorry.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda
As approved.
as amended.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Roll call vote.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yes.
and Rob.
Yes.
Motion carried. Good, ma'am?
Good enough, I'll go for the minutes.
To the minutes, I think, maybe Chris got Mr. McClanahan and Mr. McCracken mixed up. about halfway through there or something. But anyway, all that needs to be changed. There's a lot of,
Okay, so in the last, which set of minutes was it?
very first set, I think.
I can look, so it's just, she's got Wayne's name and stuff.
Yeah, you won't miss it. Just go down through there and see the
Okay,
crack
yeah,
and talk and
okay.
you'll
Okay,
know that's it.
okay.
And then I had one change. I can't tell on the email what particular page it is, Connie, but, it's when we were talking about hiring a grant writer, and I stated that's what I wanted to ask. And then the minutes say, we advertised it, and what I believe I said was, that's what I wanted to ask, did we advertise it? Question mark.
Okay,
It's on page 28.
okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Any others? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Connie?
So Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Yes.
Motion carries. We have no scheduled public comments. Anyone for unscheduled public comment? Okay, Connie, we'll go right into your report.
Okay, I just have a couple of things. An update, the chamber did receive the $800,000 from DHCD. That's gonna go to small businesses, and it's up to $15,000. And they'll start taking applications in January. They still have to work on the application and all of the requirements. So once we get that, we'll just make sure that all the businesses know about it. IDA has started sending out the checks from the Tazewell County Round 2 CARES Act to the businesses. I think several have received them this week. The town received $498.23 from DHCD, and this money was to assist with utility customer relief, which I think was around 40-some thousand we asked for, wasn't it, Tim?
Well, we received how much, Connie?
$498. It's not very much. If I read that correctly.
That's correct.
Okay.
Connie,
Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you, but I had heard them say there would be an explanation of how the amounts were determined. Did they have that with the check the town received?
With the $498?
Yes.
I didn't read all the details on it, but I did read through it. It just said that the town of Richlands was awarded $498 on.
They, in the letter that was written, they just established that they will give out the criteria of how they determine that at a future date. They didn't provide that with the letter.
Well, hopefully they will, and if not, I think we should ask. That's rather odd, so there should be an explanation as to how that amount was determined.
It's very small.
Mhm.
So we'll wait and see what happens on that, because I think that Amanda actually worked on that. But I think I'll get with her, we can make sure we see why we just got $198, so it's very small.
But Mr. Cantor, Amanda was to check with them, make sure there wasn't an error in that, because of course it's only 60 million statewide, but you'd think it'd be more than $500 basically for fair town. So it's kind of odd, I think. But, I haven't checked with any other localities to see either if that matches somewhat what they got. But we'll try to determine that this week.
And I would say the reverse parade went better than I expected. We had a lot of people go through, but I personally just want to thank everybody that gave candy, who helped with the parade, and the kids. I think they really, really enjoyed it. If you've been there, I kept running in and out making bags of candy. We give hundreds of bags of candy out. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that did donate and help with that.
Thank you for all your hard work. It was great. No, it really was. It's exciting to see.
A lot of people really say they like the reverse parade better because it seemed more personal.
You can stay warm.
They could.
It was funny because we turned around to go home. We couldn't get back across the railroad tracks at Huddle House because the traffic was all the way back to McDonald's.
Oh, I know, because Jerry, he called me, he said, you're gonna have to rush Santa Claus. And I said, it's not only Santa Claus, it was the mayor too. The people, they really enjoyed it, so it was good for the community. And I must say, like, Santa's mailbox, I guess right there where it's in front of the building, there's probably been 150 letters from kids. But I have addressed every envelope back, and Richlands Post Office have been so kind. They've got the letter. They're going to put the letter in there and put a rubber stamp on the back of it. So every kid will get a letter back. They're putting them in that mailbox. But it's been really fun just watching the kids. They just drop them in and take their pictures. So that's been a plus this year too. So that's when everybody does. And especially even the Greenway, the tree, Tim. A lot of people took pictures in front of that tree. It's just absolutely beautiful at night. So just thank you to everybody. That's all I have.
That is yours.
That's me.
Council member report, Rod.
Yes, sir. The first thing is, last time there was, we have a vacancy for the Board of Zoning Appeals, and at the Planning Commission, we would like to put forward the name of Gaynell Thompson to be the representative to the Board of Zoning Appeals. I would like to make that motion at this time. Gaynell Thompson for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I will second the motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
and Rod.
Yes.
Motion carries. Anything else, Rod?
Yes, we also have some additions to the flood task force as requested by Shay, and the new member that Rick wanted, and that's Kurt Reading, who also has a lot to give. Kurt, Kurt is serving Rick Wood, and we thank you for that. And so we have reached out to new members for the flood task force. And I don't know exactly what the reporting's been, because we decided the best thing to do was to have the chairperson of the Planning Commission to reach out. So we all would be reaching out in different ways, so it's a consistent message, and that would be Richard Smith. So as soon as we have our next meeting, Richard can report to us, and I'll bring that to council. Okay, and that is where we are with the Planning Commission. And I would like to personally thank all the people who work so hard and volunteered their time and talents and effort to make the section house as beautiful as it is. And in particular, I would like to mention and thank publicly Donna Altizer, Corey Whited, and Eleanor Arms. I also would like to thank George West, who donated the 2 cedar trees that are there from his farm. We really appreciate that, George. Thank you. And also for the people who donated money so we can buy the lights that we have on the trees. And if you notice on the front porch, have you seen the pew, the church pew that's on the front porch?
Yeah.
That was a donation from Mike and Barbara Smith, and we really appreciate it. It sat on the back porch for a while, and then we had to move it in the storage building. And so for the decorations, Corey and Donna and others picked that big bench up and moved it to the front, and to give the appearance of a platform at a train station. So it bears the theme of the house and the history, and we're really proud of it. And I want to thank those people. While I have this time, we have wrapped up a very difficult year for everyone. in every department of the town. And that being said, I'm afraid I'll miss some names, but I'll try not to. I'll mention the people who regularly have come to our meetings of the Section House Board, and also we've been Zooming most recently to keep everyone safe. And so I'll try to mention them not in any particular order, but to personally give a public thank you to all who have given us their time and talents. It really is a wonderful thing, and I thank the council for the. That would be Lena Mitchell, who's the chairperson, and Donna Altizer, Eleanor Arms, Corey Whited, Martha Hurst, Mary Lawson, Gaynell Thompson, and there are many others who've come, but those are consistently there and have been for over 10 years. And we're really appreciative of their help and their work and their dedication to this project. It's so important. And I want to thank each of you. Mary Ann, thank you for your support. Mayor, for your support. You're welcome. Thank you. Rick, thank you for your support.
Well,
Doug, thank you for your support. And Richard, thank you for your support.
You're welcome, thank you.
And Jeff, thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
And to the management, we really appreciate it. We're very aware that everyone contributes in large and small ways, but everything matters. Thank you very much. And so from the Section House Board to all of you, and for me personally, I hope everyone has a happy holiday. Thank you. I'm concluded. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rod. Richard?
I just have a quick statement if I can get through it. I want to publicly thank everyone that reached out in my sickness, privately and publicly on social media. It looks like if I picked them up to be sick, November was good, since I had about 5 or 6 meetings. I hate to miss some of those, but I am doing better. I'm probably 50% of what I used to be, but getting better every day. And I just want to publicly thank everyone who reached out with prayers and everything else.
Good to have you back, Richard.
Okay. Is that it, Richard?
It is.
Mary Ann?
I would like to start by welcoming Richard back. Richard, I missed having you sitting near me at the meetings. We are very thankful that you're at least 50% recovered, and everyone will keep praying for your full recovery.
Thank you.
Secondly, you're most welcome. I want to mention that the Rec Commission will be meeting on Monday, the 14th at 6 p.m. But due to the rise in COVID numbers, our meeting will be by Zoom. And as Connie already mentioned, and several of you commented, Jeff, you had some great comments. I also wanted to just thank Connie and the town crew, the police department, everybody that had a part in that. I was just blown away by how many cars. I'm embarrassed though, Connie. I should have just came and helped pack extra bags of candy and helped in some way. I was rather selfish. I wanted to drive through town, and it just was overwhelming to me, and it made me so very proud of our town. And I think I said it last meeting, but so many people from out of town say that our town looks like a Hallmark Christmas, and I guess I just take it for granted, but I won't anymore. So much appreciation to everybody involved with that. I'd also like to recognize and thank Larry Johnson with State Farm Insurance for 120 hands that Larry gave to town employees and even council members. I believe that was a very, very generous and very thoughtful of Larry. So thank you, Larry, and I'm sure Angie had a part in that too. And one of my favorite things every Christmas is the White Christmas or Shop with a Cop program. And unfortunately, again, with COVID, we're not going to be able to do that in the ways that we have in the past. Chief Jerry Gilbert's had a great, I guess you would call it, not really an advertisement, but a public service type announcement on WGTH explaining White Christmas Shop with a Cop. This year, donations are a little bit down, which is understandable. So if anyone would like to contribute to an extremely worthy cause for Christmas, you can still contribute to White Christmas and take your check to the police department, or to the town hall, or to MCNB Bank next to the high school at the Gateway Shopping Center. And so from what I understand, there's like 101 children approximately, and they have a list of what those children have requested, and Jerry and volunteers will be shopping for the children, and then they will come to the police department and drive up, and the gifts will be put into their car. So that's a tradition that I'm really proud that our town does, and I'm very, very thankful that COVID has not stopped that. I don't think COVID's really stopped any of our traditions. We just had to come up with different ways to do those. But last but not least, well, one other quick thing. I want to thank Rick Wood for his many years of service as a council member. And Rick, I wish you well, and I know that you will stay very involved with the town in many ways, especially with the Spear Cave Trails. And we look forward to continue working with you in those endeavors.
Thank you.
And also want to thank Jeff Hurst. Jeff, you came in a difficult time, and we have budget issues and COVID issues. And personally, I just want to thank you. You have been a huge asset to our town. When you came in and you hit the ground running, and gave above and beyond during the short time that you had. And I want you to know you're much appreciated. And hopefully we'll have you back in some capacities. But just like Rick, I know you'll stay involved with the town, and particularly with recreation.
Thank you, Marianne.
But last, and I'll make this quick, I think I probably say this every public meeting I'm ever at this time of the year. I would encourage everyone this Christmas in particular to focus mostly on presents, and that would be spelled Presence instead of like the presents that we think about in gifts. And I remember Reverend Cecil Heron, the longtime minister at Gethsemane Baptist, shared that at a Kiwanis meeting probably 40 some years ago, and I'll never forget that. So we have a lot to be thankful for in the midst of a very difficult year. And again, I just encourage you to just remember presence in the way that I spelled it. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Joe?
I'd just like to, we're glad to have you back, Richard.
Thank you, Doug.
Yes, sir. Have we had a chance to approve the list for those people that, well,
I bet we've got it scheduled this month. We've got it scheduled on the thing. I've met with, actually met with Mr. Wood, we'll talk about it. That's what we're looking at.
that's all I have.
Rick, I want to give everybody a jawbone and the trails of Madison County an update. This weekend or Saturday, I spent all day with a bunch from Jeep Jamboree USA. If you don't know what that is, look it up on the internet and just read about it. It's actually when they bring a group of people in and they ride our trails. Well, they didn't bring a group in, they brought some scouts in because they're looking for new trails. And I mean, our trail got rated like 8 or something. And that's really great. We had a bunch that come from Raleigh, North Carolina. We rode about 7 or 8 hours. And these guys go everywhere and do these trails. Well, they got to our trail, they used to sand instead of mud. So they all had a little problem. They got stuck. So, and that's what we want. I mean, we want to have stuff that nobody else has got. We got it. The update on moving or a piece of mining equipment, high wall miner, on the Jawbone Trail, it's holding up the bond getting released. And we've been talking to Jeff Taylor about it, and I think they've sold it, so it's getting ready to be removed from the property. So as soon as that happens, we'll be able to, when everything's released before spring, we should have the Jawbone Trail open. Pocahontas Trail is closed due to logging. Not all the trail, but some of the most important part of the trail is closed. And we've been working with the new owners of the Pocahontas land, which we're gonna have to pay a little money to get the trails, because they're gonna charge us by the mile of trail we have on the property. But we're also working with Pocahontas, it's Pocahontas Holdings now. We're working with them on the trails to here in Richlands. It's another 7,000 acres. And going back talking to acres, we'll have 17,000 acres of trails. Not all of it will be trails, but it's probably 17,000 acres. And I mean, these guys was kind of amazed that we had 10,000, and we had another 7,000. So we're really going to have, and when we get that, we will have the biggest trail system in Virginia when we get to those 7,000 acres. There are other ones that's close now, but the difference is they're U.S. Forest Service land and stuff like this. This will be, and talking about that, what that means is they will let us, if it's like government land, you can only build what they let you build. Ours is, we can build whatever we want. So we can have playgrounds and, you know, more stuff, more picnic areas. We're gonna do some like, bird watching cards as you ride through the trail, educational for kids. You know, if they see this bird, they can check it off, turn it back in, and, you know, we'll send them something from the spearhead to, you know, and trees, plants. We want to make the trails as much fun as it is educational too, is what we're working on now. Spearhead's got a new website that will be up this week and running that has videos that you can go on and pick a trail and look at the videos that people send in, just different things. And if you haven't checked out the Spearhead website, please do. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I've enjoyed my time here, and it's been great. Thank you, Brian. Richard, I'm glad to have you back too. I forgot to tell you that.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you very much.
Jeff? Yes, I'd like to thank, first of all, I'd like to echo some of Mary Ann's statements with Larry and Angie for passing out the hams to all the town employees. I thought that was a great gesture, and for including the council members. And that was really nice. And like I said, we enjoyed our hams. So appreciate you, Larry and Angie. And Connie, once again, thank you for the Christmas parade. What a great night that was for downtown Richlands. It was just good to see the cars and the traffic downtown. It was something else. It was lit up. The town was lit up just like when we drove over Veterans Drive. You could see from both sides. It just looked amazing down there. So that was such a wonderful feeling to see all the traffic in downtown Richlands. Couple things we have want to know. Once again, I know we've talked about the food line dumpster, the dumpster out there behind the food line. Thanksgiving weekend was pretty bad over there, and I appreciate the council coming and cleaned up, or whoever cleaned it up. Thanks, Rick, for doing that. It was pretty bad. I mean, it was on the ground worse than I've ever seen it. And like I said, I hope we can address it somehow or some way in the near future. I don't know if there is a solution back there or not. I don't know what we can do. The other thing I think is one of the biggest and most important things right now, especially with our community, is with the COVID-19 pandemic, because I think it's hitting pretty close to home. I know we've had even a council member that struggled with it, and it's good to have you back, Richard. And, I just think we're in a high risk area right now, and we need to exercise precaution and cautions and utilize ourselves. I think our town needs to do it more, and I think everybody needs to understand the awareness. Town employees, town government, even up here at the offices, everybody, and in your workplace and at home, so we can help sort of try to drop the curve and sort of flatten the curve so that we can have a healthy Christmas season. And also, I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity for this time on council. It's been very interesting to say the least, and didn't know quite what to expect when I accepted the role. When we finally got it accepted, Wayne and I were on constant calls there for a while, but I know it was in the midst of a storm when we came in, and I'd just like to say that I have noticed over the last several months that this council has sort of as divided and broken as it seemed in March and April and May. I think we found some common ground over the last few weeks, and I just think it's something to build on, and this is what our town needs, and especially our council. And if I can leave you with anything, maybe, just focus on structure, focus on our needs and doing it right, doing it correct, asking the right questions, knowing when to ask the questions and know when to stay out. And I think that's what I've learned the most over the course of this, sort of period of my life with council. And it's been very interesting. I appreciate all the support from everybody, from Mr. Taylor, Ms. Cordell, all my fellow council members. Rick, you've done a great job in your time, and hate to see you go, but that's part of it. We look forward to Mr. Street and Mr. Plaster as they begin their journey on town council and in their years, and hopefully we can keep the momentum of this togetherness, and especially in the upcoming weeks with the important decisions that we have to make for council regarding this town's future, that we do it together, and we do it right, and we do it with diligence. Thank you.
Can I say something regarding the dumpster?
Yes.
If I can get Wayne to look at it, I know Mr. Taylor might be able to expand on it, but there's a piece of the town code that requires, even though Food Line's not technically responsible for the trash that's being dumped back there, is there something in the code, Mr. Taylor, that requires the property owner to keep that clean? I know we had that issue there with the Goodwill where they actually fenced their dumpster.
Yes, sir.
Is that something that we looked at?
Yeah, that's basically where it's on private property, so really the obligation to that lies on the property owner, which in that case would be Food Line, I suspect.
That would be great.
So it's hard.
It'll fall on me.
Yeah,
I've cleaned it up.
I didn't mean to put it back on you.
I've cleaned it up. I'm hauling dump truck loads of trash. The problem I have with it is people's bringing it from out of town, putting it in or on the ground, and it's costing the town money. Jerry has been given tickets.
Jerry's charged, or Jerry's employees have charged several people, from what I understand. But I don't recall him, but I think it was on my council service before when we had that same issue there with Goodwill. Did we provide that concrete pad for them and they paid for fencing, or you remember?
No, I think
don't pay for all of it.
Doug? Okay. Well, like I said, I hate to put it back on them, but I swear I think the police department with the cameras and everything they've done, my understanding, they've made several charges there and it hasn't stopped or it hasn't slowed down. If anything's got worse. I don't know what the solution is. I
don't know. I haven't really talked a whole lot with Mr. Wood about gating it there. Gates. I know some of the other, the top.
I can say move the dumpster. Just take it. Y'all have it. But they won't go to other places. We've got it to one place. Now, if I go there and start moving it, it's gonna go all over town. Cause it used to be at the mall, it used to be everywhere. We've got it to one place. It's in Jen's front yard and I hate it. But I don't know what else to do. I've done everything. I spend 2 hours every morning over cleaning up trash.
So there's no doubt about it. That's what I was trying to do, is look at somehow to take the monkey off your back, plus Food Lines and everybody else is involved in it.
We just need to get more tickets. That's all I know to do.
To alleviate that problem.
I mean, we just gonna have to get more tickets, Richard.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually trespassing to be back there.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to charge them with the dumpster deal and for bringing trash in. And it's not only people out of town, it's people in town too. I mean, I'm getting addresses from a lot of people. And
Wayne, how do you feel about a trespassing charge on that, if they're on the property, with no, good standing, I guess, because trespassing is class 1 misdemeanor and carries a heavier fine and the possibility of some jail time, where I think the other charges may be a little less lenient.
Richard, I would probably defer to Jerry on that. I mean, I think that's within his purview on what he wants to do on that. I mean, it certainly sounds like it is trespass based on what I've heard.
But Richard, I want to say something before we go any further. You remember the last time that we started doing trespassing tickets? We lost the Richlands mall. I'm not into that. I don't want to do that. I just want to solve the trash problem. And I don't know if we need 2 dumpsters there, if that would help. I don't know what to do.
What if you put a big sign up?
I've got no trespassing right behind me on the hill. I mean, I've done everything I know to do. But if I take it away from there, it goes all over town.
Oh, I really want to
Yeah,
have
they
that
just
Giovanni
go down.
problem.
So, I mean, we've got it to one small place. And I mean, I'm working to keep up, but, I don't know what else.
I guess what I'm asking is what's your suggestion to help with it, Rick?
Give tickets. If we can add another dumpster for a little while, maybe they won't throw it out on the ground, it'll be in the dumpster. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I really don't. I've got dumpsters all around the building everywhere, and that dumpster right there is the only one that's ever a problem.
That's because it's behind the building and hidden from public view, and people can't be seen as they thought they're not being seen.
Richard, all the rest of them is hid from public view, except that, I mean, all of them is bad. Food Lines is, the one behind Verizon is, the one behind the Big Lots is. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but we're getting tons and tons of trash.
Is it possible to set another dumpster through the Christmas season, Mr. Taylor, so it's not such a burden?
Sure, if that council desires, that's when maybe we can do that.
I would love to make a motion. I really would.
I'd love to make it too. I'll help you move it over there.
Are there cameras there?
There has been, yes, ma'am.
But that obviously hasn't helped to, I mean, you can't really
Well,
see if people are out of town, that shouldn't be using the dumpster, you can't really follow them, I don't suppose.
And Jerry can speak to you more than I can, but I do know that I did ask prior to the meeting, and there's been several criminal charges made for that, but it's like going fishing, you don't catch every fish in the pond when you go fishing, but it's going to continue to be a problem. My suggestion would be at least set another dumpster there through the Christmas season, because the trash is going to get worse.
I have a question. How well lighted back here in the evening?
Yes. Yeah, you got the lights from the power station and you got the lights from Food Lines. Well lit.
That's something you need in a motion, Mr. Taylor.
It'd be fine and make it easy if you do it, please.
And I made the motion. I think somebody can say, oh, yes.
A whole second.
Rick, I heard you say you would love to make that motion. Have you made?
Yes, I made the motion.
Do we
And I
have
will
a
second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, Monica.
Yes.
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Yes.
Motion carried. So we'll have another one, absolutely. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, we got another problem too, since you're solving those problems. I guess maybe, Mr. Gilbert, if we're having a lot of problems with ducks in our shopping center, they'll pull it right out front and feed the ducks right in plain view. Okay, what that's doing is it's drawing all these ducks And there's one or two that run over every day. You'll see the ducks laying around dead. So would it be possible if you see, if your officers see them feeding the ducks, they do it right in front, you'll see 100 ducks around that car. If they could dissuade people from explaining the problem, that they're putting those ducks in jeopardy by having them fed there. And every day I have to I have to bury a duck, okay? And so if I would be very,
Our code enforcement officer just recently has gotten out of the academy, and I've addressed a lot of issues that we're having in town with the trash and the animals and everything. So I will add that to her agenda to make several passes through there and she catches people feeding the ducks. We've got an ordinance against it. And if,
And we've got signs of it.
correct.
They are signs.
There at Critterfield, we've had this problem before, so I will have her address that as well as the rest of the patrol division. And, we'll try to give some warnings if that'll work. But if not, then we can issue some citations.
okay, thank you very much. I think we got two big problems solved. Thank you.
Okay, under mayor comments, the proclamation recognizing January 24th through the 30th as School Choice Week in Richlands. Do you have any more information on that at all?
Just what that email that you provided is all out there. It's just what they email said.
Is anybody else aware of this? Well, it's a free choice. It's a proclamation for a free choice, that this land supports free choice for education. Let me find it right quick. We looked at it last month, didn't know who it was from or really what it was about. And I brought up the question last month and no one has contacted me to clarify, what it's for. So
What is free choice?
it's a proclamation recognizing January 24th through the 30th as School Choice Week. Whereas School Choice Week organization has reached out to the town of Richlands asking for support and recognition of January 24th through the 30th as School Choice Week. Whereas the previous year, 550 mayors and county leaders, along with 27 governors, unanimous United States Senate and the President issued proclamations recognizing National School Choice Week. And whereas the stated goal of School Choice Week organization is to raise awareness among parents of public and non-public K-12 children of education options available to their children. Whereas the Richlands Town Council now desires to recognize January 24th through 30th, 2021 as School Choice Week. Therefore, be it ordained and proclaimed by the Richlands Town Council this such day of such month is officially recognized as School Choice Week in Richlands, Virginia.
What do you need for that? Is it,
I'll make a motion that we recognize it and proclaim.
But what is it? I still,
There's no thing there.
what is it advocate?
National School Choice Week is entirely non-political and non-partisan, and we do not advocate for or against any legislation. Our goal is simply to raise awareness among parents of the public and non-public K-12 education options available to their children.
I'll second that. Dear.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to proclaim January 24th through 30th as School Choice Week. I've already read it. So.
Can I ask a question, please?
Question two, Paul. Go ahead, Marion.
And Jeff, you're married to a public school principal, so I'm assuming by your making the motion, obviously that, I mean, this is not saying anything negative about our public school system, is correct?
No, it's just raising awareness for options for parents.
Okay, and that was important to me, and like I said, I couldn't imagine you would make the motion, if it negatively impact our Castle County public schools, or the perception of our, because we have an outstanding school system here, in my opinion.
It's just for homeschooling or charter school.
Any school you claim. It could be homeschool, it could be public
I have a
school.
question too. Go ahead, Paul, I have a question, and I'm glad Mary Ann asked that question. I'm still not really sure about it. Anyway, my question is, Paul, did you say you weren't sure who actually submitted this to us for consideration?
That's what I said, yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes, that's what I said.
So we don't know who actually submitted it.
Well, Jeff had some, what were you reading from there, Jeff? An email or something?
Yeah, an email Adrian had in our package, is from, company South Lake, Texas, what it reads like, the Proclamations Department in South Lake, Texas,
Yeah, but it's a national movement, so.
the National School Choice Week.
Jared, I couldn't hear you. Where is it from?
It's from South Lake, Texas.
Texas. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it says National School Choice Week provides an unprecedented opportunity every January to shine a spotlight on the need for effective education options for all children. Independently planned by a diverse coalition of individuals, schools, and organizations, the NSCW features thousands of special events across the country. The week is a nonpartisan, non-political public awareness effort.
I'll make that motion.
It's already made.
It's already made.
It's already made and seconded. So, any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Did you call for me, Mary Ann? I mean,
Rod, yes.
what's your name?
Bye.
Yeah. I thought it was Mary Ann. It's like crazy. Connie and Mayor, I'm going to abstain, and I'll tell you why. I'm sure they're well-intentioned, but people say it's non-political, but it smells political to me, so I'm abstaining, because I don't know who this group is. Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have a request, which we've had each year that I've been here, for payment in lieu of taxes for Fairfax Court Apartments. It's the, apartments down by the, Cornerstone Church. This is, Cumberland Plateau requesting this. Tim, am I saying enough about it?
The housing authority, come Plateau Housing Authority,
Yeah.
the question has to be raised.
I'll make the motion to waive the taxes for the Fairfax court appointments.
Have a second.
I'll say.
That motion and a second discussion.
What's been the history on that? I know some years we did and some we didn't.
Yeah, some years you just chose not to do it based on the discussion of council members at that time. Other years, it's been kind of on this one. Either way, we've done it both ways. All the time.
Have we done a payment in lieu of taxes on that before we try to?
Yes, yeah, that has happened. Most, if you look at the time I've tenured, most of the time it is full. There has been a few years that it wasn't. Mr. Myers came here one time and talked about it, at length, what they try to use this money according to him. It doesn't state that in this particular letter, but oftentimes they use it to try to put money back into the Fairfax court. That's been the claim. And paying the taxes, they make sure it comes back to the court here locally. That's what they say. And that doesn't say this money. I'm assuming that's what they usually do.
I know we have a motion and a second on the floor, but, I feel like maybe a payment in lieu of taxes, that way we don't set a precedent of waiving taxes for particular entity, I guess you say.
It is a payment in lieu of, it is payment in lieu of taxes.
Any way we can stipulate that we do it as long as they put it back into the buildings there? I mean,
I think it's perfectly fine if they agree to do that. Then
Well, the same people helps us in this town when we go get grants and stuff. I mean, we get several grants from them all the time to help with different projects. Well, the housing authority. I mean, I think they give us some money, but
they helped us for several years, when we did the, housing rehab projects that we did, they didn't charge us anything for that either. So they helped us with that part, because you had to use, that was the regional housing authority, we just have basically a town advisory committee, we work by statute. So they did help us do that, but we have, I don't know about grants, I don't think we've had any.
I thought they had some grant money in this, when we done this water line up here or something.
No, the sewer line, that was, compacted payment district.
Yeah, but it was done through the housing or something, they said.
I don't remember that, but,
That's the reason I agree with you. I was just wondering.
they have helped us with, housing issues, but not so.
Well, the organization has helped and is helping us a lot, and it's like $1,400,
$1,688.
$1,688.
I know, I can't remember, but several years we had a problem. Do you remember what it was that?
Mr. Byers, just, I think we asked him to come explain why they wanted it waived, and he came in, and I believe it's the same gentleman, yes, Keith Byers, and he explained that it was trying to put stuff back into the, like the kitchens, and to upgrade their equipment and stuff like that.
And we had several people, some of the, people that live there came and spoke and asked that they upgrade. I think that was a problem, that they were having a problem because it wasn't upgraded.
There was something, I really, there's something, I don't remember the details.
I mean, all I'm asking if we let them, I've heard a lot of complaints that maybe that it's not kept up as well as it should be, I don't know. And if we, did away with 1,600, just ask them, require them to put it back into the facility. I don't think that's what you're asking them.
I'm sorry, in the second page, the very last sentence, if you take that, the authority has identified use of these funds for resident services. I think that's what that said. I think that's what that means. Well, we'll clarify that on the cover letter if you like.
I mean,
That's what.
I think I'd like a cover letter, because I've had, there were several spoke that way. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and they were telling the conditions.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I think the wording of it, it needs to state that it is a payment in lieu of taxes, because if we, pass the motion, I think the way it was offered, it kind of sets precedence for anybody who wants to come in and waive the taxes. We have to make that decision.
So you're asking for the motion to be amended to say that.
I'll amend it to
And could
the
you,
payment in lieu of
could you
taxes.
amend it that they required to put it back into the facility, the 1,600?
That the money that was for the taxes goes back into the property. Is that good enough?
I'll second that one.
Further discussion?
I appreciate that. Could I ask that the motion be read so I understand it? Thank you.
Done.
Okay, the motion is, in payment of little taxes, the amount of $1688.72 will be put back into the facility.
Did you hear Rob?
Yes, I did.
Any further discussion? Roll call
Did
vote.
Richard second the second motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Motion carried. I would like to take this moment, to actually just kind of echo the appreciation that everybody has, spoke of to, Jeff, to Rick, to the council, to management, to the police department, everyone for the job that they do, police department, especially for the, support they did on Veterans Day. I thought that was a very nice, action on their part. It carried out very well. Few questions I've got in no particular order, but, the ditch on Iron Street is not cleaned out, did you say, Ken?
No, but I met with, Mr. Wood, we went through it, walked it, I've got a schedule as a work order, just as soon as they can get it. And actually, it should be done pretty soon because the cold weather will help us get it done.
So you think within a 30-day time frame?
Yes, the next council meeting, sure.
The event permit that Lori Stacy asked for last time, Chief, that we would want to turn over to you guys to discuss any
Yes,
further.
I have a meeting, and I've got a meeting, Thursday afternoon with the committee down there to work out some of the logistics.
Okay, so it's still where it was, correct?
Yeah, so basically, we just trying to work out some of the issues that the towns won't have to address if we shut that road down, but we're, like I said, Thursday evening, we do have a meeting to try to address those.
All right. I do appreciate Larry Johnson, purchasing 120 hams for our employees and for council. I am embarrassed, that council didn't do that themselves. I've never worked for an outfit that couldn't furnish their employees a Christmas dinner or some type of appreciation. Rod, did you do any research on the 4-year mayor terms?
No, I have not, Mayor.
Are you planning to?
Did we ask, I can't recall, Paul, did we ask, Wayne to dig into that for us, maybe?
You did, Ron.
Well,
Council did ask me to do that. I added it to the closed session agenda.
okay, all right, thank you. Well, I've got another question. I always ask you in health session, I suppose. Fluoride, is that fluoride in the water yet?
And they're working on it, they are working with it, they're other days.
Could we give maybe a 30-day notice before it goes in?
That's what you said, as soon as we know the target date, we'll do that.
We just put the water bills and utility bills in envelopes. I understand that we are hiring a company to do that for us.
Yeah, we've looked at the ability to get to, what folks like to see on the bills, the history and all that. The amount of money it takes for us to print and do analysis on it to actually print them ourselves, with that type of envelope, that type of stuffer. It's the only way you can do that type of information, you can't do it on a phone. And it was pretty much a break-even process to do that, so it worked out pretty well for us. So they're doing that process, we don't have to use our own printers, we don't have to use our own ink. And we also can get a stuffer that Connie can use for community events, we have a way to stuff things, so it kind of puts us with modern times. And it's the next step to try to get everybody to utilize the internet and maybe answer a lot of the questions that they get time with their staff because they can see their history. They can see the history.
Okay, so when you say it's pretty much break even, it's not costing us anymore?
No, it's pretty much break even.
Okay. And the property at Dairy Queen that we talked about, even before last, I think.
Wayne, you got anything on that? I don't have anything else. The property, the map of the request from Mr. Coyle about the property on Front Street, that they were looking to lease or buy.
Right. I believe that the town can, if the council so desires, we can do that. It's going to get an agreement in place.
That we can sell it or lease it, or, council likes to talk about that, and,
One question, I think he has a great idea there, but don't you think we need to let the public know and give everyone a chance? I'm sure nobody would want it other than him, but just for the council to be even, just let everyone know,
Sure.
not pick winners or losers.
Absolutely. I think that should be required, not just preferable. So if that's something I can have a in-depth process outlined and ready for presentation council next council meeting, if the council so desires.
well, I mean, they requested it, we told them to give them an answer, so.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Ratliff is correct. We've got to we can't just engage in a private sale.
Right. I think everybody would look on it and say, okay, you're doing this, and
I understand that completely, but let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do what.
I think he's gonna.
Sure.
Yep. So maybe we can have an answer on how long?
Don't you-
30 days?
Don't we have to, well, not with you, but, y'all have to have like a public hearing on it?
Yes, I believe so.
Because you want to sell a piece of property or lease a piece of property. I don't think you have to have a public hearing to sell, to lease it, but to sell it, you would.
Correct, and is there a definitive answer on whether we're looking at a sale or a lease?
In my mind, there's not.
The request was for a buy, I remember that.
Let's go with that.
Wouldn't we have to advertise it then?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it for me.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I forgot one thing that was in our packets, and I agree with you. I'm ashamed of myself that I didn't think of something, because last year we had really nice Christmas dinner at the police department that Connie decorated so nice, and employees, it was very well attended, had a lot of great food, a lot of fun, so we didn't do that this year. So I think the very least we can do is I'll make the motion that we have an additional paid holiday for Christmas Eve. And the calendar was enclosed in our packet, and this is being done throughout the Commonwealth.
So that's providing the 24th as well as the 25th for the holiday, correct? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Bell?
Yes, sir. So I make the motion that we add an additional paid holiday of Christmas Eve, December 24th, and of course, continue with the Christmas Day holiday for town employees.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second discussion.
Was it not previously on the calendar before? No, 25th is the only date that's on. I was just wondering
Well, would it,
why would they thought about it at the beginning of the year? I mean, that's just something council chooses to do.
Give them a lecture.
Well, I know, but like, I just figured you'd have the calendar work out like at the first of the year. You just, I mean, is it just a process of just?
Well,
Well, it was. No,
No,
it's in the handbook, what we get off, and that's what was adopted by council, so that day never was given.
what, the 24th?
The 24th was never given.
So it's not really a paid holiday, it's just letting them off that day.
Yeah, so.
So I think, restate a little bit that they have the day off, not an extra paid holiday. Is that?
Paid holiday in the motion.
instead of having.
She said paid holiday.
So I
Okay.
made the motion that it be a paid
Well,
holiday.
would you want the motion to be that they're off the 24th? Instead of, I mean, if you let them off.
Well, I took it that we were gonna be off, but we paid, is that correct? I misunderstood.
Right.
Correct, it would be a paid
Holiday.
additional holiday. Because again, we
Well,
didn't do anything for our town employees this year. Larry gave everybody a hand,
but
and I think it's well deserved, especially the stress that the town has been under with multiple floods and a lot of obstacles this year.
which you want to do, are you going to let them off the day, or are you going to pay them for it?
But,
You know,
that's what you're saying.
or,
But, yeah, that's what she, paid holiday.
always the history before is we let them off, the 24th.
With pay.
With pay, right.
It's not extra pay, that's what you're.
Okay, oh, yeah, I thought, yeah, right. So let them off with, yeah, exactly. I understand.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Abstain.
Rod.
Yes.
Motion carries. That won't prevent me from asking for a dinner next year, though, I think Christmas dinner. No, but
I think we were going to have one, but because of the virus,
we refuse to put money in the budget for it. Okay, Ken.
Okay, thank you. If you'll look at, check register, if you'd mind, you Didn't get the other one, I think they've got it by email, the second one, the first one sent the packets. So do you have any questions on any of the bills? We've got time to look at them.
The check 9064, the removal from silo labor for that, is that something we don't have people qualified to do?
Not particularly on this particular, we had to have some extra help with that, but just by the nature of it, it's a pretty intense job, and this guy's qualified to do that. You're in actually a cylinder that's got flow in it, so we had to use this gentleman, he's been trained to do that, so it's a kind of expert type thing. We don't have anybody that can do that.
Is that sort of like a closed environment?
Yeah, it's a closed, yeah, it's a confined space.
Yeah,
Sure is. We lost the pump out there before this was.
Check 9080, USAL code, says water treatment plant, $7,800.
That's chemical, Delmac is our popular chemical.
9105 Spectrum business for the internet at Rec Park.
That's,
I thought they agreed to provide us internet.
no, not at the Red Park, not for free one. No.
We get here.
We get one here, maybe, I think, and one at the either. That's all two here. And once we have plans to the fiber over there, we have the fiber ball, we just haven't got it strong. And once we get fiber in, we won't have to do this anymore.
Is that a monthly charge?
That's a monthly.
On the email ones on the display sales company, $2,210, happy holidays sign donation,
What, you got a check number?
9180.
This is Garden Club, donation. They bought the Happy Holidays Center.
So they donated that much to us,
That's what I understand. Yes, sir.
but it's shown here as an expenditure, correct?
Well, we paid for it out of the budget because it was a check written.
Pass through, they gave us the money.
That's what it says, a donation from the Garden Club, yeah, for the sign. So basically, it's revenue neutral to the budget, but it is a check.
Okay. And
So
the,
I'm sorry, who made the donation?
Good
Or did
lands.
they,
Richlands Garden Club, I understand it, really.
It's a pass-through, right?
They have
right,
ornaments,
but I think the garden club, you know, when it's staged, we should publicly recognize them for doing that for us, because they certainly look a lot better.
Absolutely.
they absolutely do a great job, and they sell the Christmas ornaments, you know, you guys know about those to make money, and they spend it right back on the community just as they get it. And they spend a tremendous amount of labor on fluffing those wreaths and everything. They do a great job. They really do.
I want to add my appreciation to the Garden Club members are simply the best. They really do so much to help the town and make it very nice. And they're to be commended. And I will add, they have found a home in the section house. They have put invested money they have promised, and it's there. The landscaping, they have more to do. And as best they can, they use it as a meeting place. And they'll be doing that pending COVID restrictions as soon as possible. They're just a great organization. And I could try to name them, and I'm sure I'll miss some people, but they're really great people.
Well, they've agreed
Personally say
to,
thank you to
they've actually agreed to take, the planter on over at Bridge Park, around the Bridge Park sign. They're going to take care of that going forward, starting this spring.
Awesome.
Yeah, very appreciative of that.
I think that when maybe spring or summer, whenever we can, before council meets, we should have like a reception for these wonderful volunteers and have them over to publicly thank them.
And I love it, and I tell you what, we could do that, we could combine that, maybe prior to council, and showcase the work they've done at the section house, because they have really done tons of work, and the plantings around there, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but they're really nice. And it would be a perfect time if it's in the spring. If, on COVID restrictions, be it in the town hall or anywhere, but they've invested so much time and energy. I would like to suggest that we could have it at the section house prior to a meeting and to showcase what they actually have done. Just one thing, and they've done so much, but it would be a perfect opportunity to say thank you in person. I love that idea. Thank you.
Well, I love the location as well at the section house, so time tends to get away from us, and it is gonna be a better year in 2021, so let's make sure we don't forget to do this as soon as we can in the spring.
I agree.
Any other discussion on the check? I entertain a motion to authorize the manager to pay bills.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Jack,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yes,
Rod.
Yes.
Okay, Tim.
Okay, thank you. The next, I've kept my comments pretty few tonight, but anyway, the computer network, we've made quite a bit of stride to keep our IT department and our investment for our networking and our communications on track based on a number of years of looking at it. And several years ago, we actually did some collaboration. We joined the virtual VMware type setup, and we bought some equipment, and we've been very successful in doing that. We've actually, this past year, actually went to the IP funds, which puts us in a little bit more modern times. This is helping off the top, and it's been very successful in that too. The next thing we've had in the works long term was the computer design that replaces a couple of really much needed pieces of hardware. And we have 2 core switches in town that ties in the town hall as well as the PD to areas that houses our data. We have what's called DR site and primary data site. And I'm gonna let Frank talk about this. But there's a way that we these things are getting some age on. And we were trying to get a plan together to address maintenance and the proper way to do things as well as advance our technology. As we continue to advance our technology with telephones and the ability for people to utilize the internet, utilize that even more, and our networking gets taxed. The big thing about those core switches, they're very expensive, but they were purchased 15 years ago. And they were used when we purchased those 2. So they're about a 20-year item, and that's pretty old. And right now it's limiting our bandwidth to be able to produce the amount of traffic and bandwidth to get from site to site. So, Frank, if you'll please come to the podium and explain this particular deal. The reason which we brought this up now instead of in the budget cycle is there's golden opportunity that arises at the end of the year. With COVID, we have been able to secure interest-free financing from Dale. And they provide that because of COVID and because some of the problems that some communities have had on trying to keep their equipment up in today's time of loss of revenue. So they put some incentives out there, and it was enticed a little bit more. We got a little bit additional incentive today when we talked to Mr. Gray. But I'll let Frank talk about what our situation is and what we'd like to do, so at least we don't miss an opportunity. And we'll have to act on it pretty soon to take advantage of it. So I'll let Frank explain that to you. And he gave a handout to you refer to.
First, I guess the best thing would be is to kind of explain a little bit how our network works. As Mr. Taylor said, we have 2 data centers. One is the primary data center where everything in our network goes to the police department. That's where our primary data center is, and it's there because we have generation there. Able to, if something, electricity goes off, we're able to function with the generator. So everything from every town building, water plant, sewer plant, town hall, police department, everybody goes to the police department into that core switch that's there. Then we have a disaster recovery site, which is located here at the town hall. What happens there is all the data is replicated from the police department to the town hall where backups are done. We have fiber connections between the buildings, so that's how the system works. Our biggest vulnerability now with our whole network system is the 2 core switches. As he said, those core switches are about 20 years old. They've been good, they work good, but technology has passed them up. We don't have maintenance supports for them, and that's due to age. Cisco just doesn't provide a maintenance contract for those. So if parts of those go down, we're limited to eBay or places like that to find a power supply or whatever to make those work. The handout, I listed the pieces that are critical to our network at the police department, the primary data center. As you can see, we purchased a new router last year. That Cisco core switch is 20 years old. We purchased 2 new firewalls in 2018. The SANs, what the SANs is, it's a big storage device. That's what that stands for. We have one at the police department, one at the town hall. We have 4 Dell servers linked together. That's where our data is processed through. We purchased those about 5 years ago, which is an end of life by network standards. By Dell standards, 5 years is the life of servers. It's also the end of life for the SANs that we have. Here at the disaster recovery site, what we did, we took what servers we were using 5 years ago, repurposed those for here, so that makes those servers that are here 10 years. The core switch that's here, that every computer and phone up here plugs into that core switch. So if we lose either one of those 2, the network's down. It can't function without those core switches. The proposal that our network architect guy with our partners with Dell and Cisco put together a proposal to eliminate the site here. Get rid of the servers, the SANs, the backup server, the storage devices, put one appliance in, and move our backups to the cloud, which is where everything is going. So we're doing away with the SAN servers, storage. The only thing is we wouldn't replace it with the core switch. All of those things are end of life. The projection that we've had from the Dell design will show that in the next 5 years, with this proposal, we could save over $100,000 in our network. That's overdoing that proposal. If we do business as usual with our current design, means we have to replace items and those things, pay maintenance fees. We're going to be over that $100,000 just in that part. An example of money savings is at the end of this month, we'll have to pay Cisco and Dell $12,000 for the maintenance on the 2 SANs. And what we want to do with the proposal is get rid of one here for the new appliance at our primary data center. And part of that proposal has a 5-year maintenance fee included with it. Now that maintenance, that 5-year proposal from Dell is $104,000, I think. They have, due to COVID, they have 0% financing for 3 years, which would make a payment of, I think, $34,000 a year for the next 3 years. Again, that's projected $100,000 savings just on that part over the next 5 years. The other proposal is from Cisco and ESI as our Cisco rep, replacing the 2 core switches with 2 up-to-date, high-speed core switches, which would improve our network. We currently have a connection between the town hall and the police department of 1 gigabyte. That's a whole lot. But when you tax everything, all the things that go on, what slows down the network. The new switches we want to put in will function up to 40 gigabytes of speed. The switches are made to serve the problem, the issues that we have now, plus in the future. They have also, due to COVID, agreed to give us a 0% interest for the next 3 years. Of course, these 2 core switches, you can see how important they are. They cost more than all the other Dell stuff does. They're $138,000. If you see we got 20 years of service out of what we got now, I mean, we can expect longevity out of the new Cisco switches that we're going to replace. Like I said, our biggest liability in our whole network is the core switches. Because if it goes down, the network doesn't work. It doesn't function. If it goes down here, none of the data they do here can get to the primary data center. And they can't retrieve any past history until it's fixed. Switches are obsolete, you can't replace them with it. If you can't find what you need from eBay or something like that, you're not going to get it fixed. Core switches are not something off the shelf. They're something that's built. You go to Cisco and say, I need a switch with this, this, and this in it, and it takes time for that to be built. So our network could be down considerable amount of time should it fail. Most of our IT budget now consists of maintenance fees and license. As you can see from that $12,000 savings, that was budgeted out of the IT budget to pay maintenance fees for those 2 SANs. So that's $12,000 that we don't have to spend that can go toward that yearly payment for the Dell proposal. There's other license fees in there. We don't need VMware. Like Mr. Toder said, we're virtual. There's license for that. Everything in dealing with network bills in license. We don't need as many VM licenses with the new proposal because we don't have as much equipment to license. I know it's a lot of money. I mean, we've worked on this probably for the last 3 months. We think we have built the network to handle today and the future with adding component parts to whatever. It doesn't address workstations because a workstation is $600. A core switch is $65,000.
The opportunities we have too, now, of course, you can deal with it in the budget. If you do nothing, the biggest risk you've got, like, I want to reiterate that, you know, how we cover risk with this, most everybody covers risk, so that you can't afford to put a $40,000 redundant switch on the ship. So you can't do that. So the way you cover yourself with that is you have to have maintenance fees. The problem with the exposure we have is there is no maintenance fee because there is no parts. So if you're really, if you lose that core switch, you're down. And you just there's nothing, you're really exposed to that. Of course, you know, that's been a problem for us, but there was a lot of used equipment back 10 years ago that you could probably find. And today, that's just not there. So that's a word we have. But the reason we think that this is a good deal is because of the financing and the you actually got another $20,000 on the 3 years savings today, as I understand. So that's $7,000 more a year off.
Yes, we were able to renegotiate with Dell and got a $20,000 drop in the total cost of the project.
So this would put the town where it needs to be, like I said, for 5 years, other than just desktops and things like laptops and things like that. You don't have to worry about this year's budget. We worked that out as far as that goes. As long as you appropriate the money in next year's budget, the first payment will be due in July. So that invoicing wouldn't be part of this year's budget. Again, it gets on the thing of working it out. You know, you have to make sure that you appropriate that funding for that and plan for it to the next budget cycle. But we will put it in, it'll be hopefully within the next 2 months, and that will be the feature that you'll have. It will reduce the need for staffing and having expert type staffing because you'll have maintenance agreements. And also you'll have, we do have one consultant that works on the high end of the programming for those. They're very, very intense, to deal with. So I just don't want to miss an opportunity. If you do nothing, we're at risk. If you don't do the array for the cloud, you're going to get $100,000 savings over 5 years, which is probably not something we should probably should think about. That's going to save you $100,000 in 5 years. So it seems like the right thing to do. You just got to budget it next year.
You don't have to start paying for it till the next
In
one.
July, we do those payments in July. So it gives you time to plan how to get the money in place for that. But again, it requires a commitment. You know, and I just, you know, once you sign the document, you'll have to pay it. It has to be appropriate. So that's
Well, at the end of the term of the payment, if I understand, we're gonna pay it for 3 years, right?
Yes.
Now, how good, I mean, we were talking about some of these servers over the last 5 years, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna be sitting, looking at it in 5 years.
But no,
The switches,
look at a server now, a server you can estimate's about $8,000.
how long do these switches last though? So we're getting,
Well, the last one we've had a year. We've had them for 15 years.
but what's the time frame on the equipment to work on them?
They'll say 5 years, but we usually get 8 years. I would
The
say.
sands that we're gonna
The
replace
sands is different.
are 5 years old.
Yeah.
And they'll classify those as end of life at 5 years. That doesn't mean they don't work. I mean, we can keep using those sands,
Sure, like you-
but we're going, every year, last year, our maintenance fee was $10,000 for 2 sands. This year, it's about 12,500 this year for the coming.
And we don't have to pay the maintenance fee with this.
Right, there's all the maintenance fees for all of the equipment that we're gonna purchase is included in that price.
That's what I was on.
So if you look at the sands, that's 12,000 this year. By 5 years, that's
Might be 15.
that's 58, but it's probably, it's about 10% increase every year, so you're looking at 60 to 70,000 in maintenance fees just for those 2 pieces, even if they survive that long.
Yeah, I know it's kind of cold, but we just did, we thought it was through the budgetary process, but you're getting quite a bit of, attractive financing. You're gonna have to take a bit of plan in place. That's what we're trying to do to address these. Those switches won't last forever at this point.
When do you need to know?
We've got till January 15th on one, but we think we don't have to end the year on the other.
Right, core switches, that offer is good, 0 interest is good until the end of
Which one do you guys?
COVID ends.
Which one would you recommend?
I recommend both.
So you're looking at, that puts you up where you need to be for 5 years. 2 different issues. Core switches.
If you look at it this way, $104,000 for the Dell proposal.
Mhm.
So just this month, you can take 12,000 off of that. Because you only pay the maintenance fee. So that makes it 90. And if you look at, you're gonna have a $20,000 savings, or the projection is a $20,000 savings per year. Because they estimate over $100,000 savings in 5 years. So that it's cutting the price.
They offer us 0% for 3 years. Right?
Yes. But the proposal, they offered 3 years, with 3 years maintenance, but we wanted the 5-year maintenance, even though it costs a little more, it gives us more of a cost savings.
So you're saying,
So there's 2 proposals on board, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought they were competing.
No, there's
2 different issues.
one
Two
proposal.
different issues. I said,
Right.
one's 100,000, one's 138.
Yes,
Okay.
the 138 is
230.
2 core switches.
so you're saying you'll average paying 60,000 a year with the savings? You got 80 here, but with the savings, you're saying we save 12?
Sure, yes, actually, at least 20 and maybe more.
I wouldn't say it would be a whole lot more than 20, but it could be.
So if you take the
But
20,
just remember, like, the way maintenance fees work is the older it gets, the more your maintenance costs is going to be.
Well, I'm not gonna be here to say if I have to pay it or not. Mikey Street,
I have some opinions.
thank you.
Can you tell me about the maintenance? How streamlined is the maintenance for vouchers and for redundancy? How streamlined? What's your process for maintenance?
For
How does the
now,
maintenance work?
for now, maintenance is paid per year on the sands. We have a backup server that there is no maintenance on.
Okay, so you have no redundancy?
No.
Okay,
We have a storage array that goes with it that we don't have maintenance because of the age of it.
okay, if something happened to that, that would be bad.
It would be unless it was something that was held on the sands that we could repair.
Okay, this is Dell that owns that owns the switches? Dell?
No, there's Cisco switches.
Cisco switches. What was the Dell piece?
The Dell piece is a unified, it's a newer type sands.
Okay, so that's storage. Okay, so it's
Currently, we have two sands. The project eliminates one. It eliminates both of them. It's a unified sands, a primary data center. Okay. Then we have an IPA here that does some storage for, some retrieval or backup, and then it pushes it to the cloud.
okay, so we're gonna lean on the cloud for redundancy.
Yes.
Okay. Which is modern, that's modern technology, that's where we should go.
And that eliminates the need, we've always needed a generator at this site, and that eliminates the need for that. Everything will be traveling to the PD.
So you tell me yes or no.
I need to see a plan. Can I see a plan?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay.
Thank you, Frank. So,
I have the quotes and things of the pieces, but when you look at it, I don't know that you, a lot of it, I don't understand.
Do they install them or?
We have our own guy that will do the installation.
so how much more does that cost?
No, we pay him a monthly retainer.
Okay. It's on retained, okay.
We'll have to pay some bills like,
Yeah, Ruben Mills usually. The projection is that once all the equipment was here, less than a week probably to install it and do it functional.
So who currently does the maintenance for switches currently?
We don't have,
We have zero maintenance for so what happens if something happens? We have hardware issues.
depending on what it was, you may end up finding a power supply or something like that from eBay.
And who we call if that's something like that happens? Who's transferring?
we go around, basically, we put on that's one.
And then if we upgrade, then Cisco.
Yes. That's, the maintenance from Cisco on switches would be, next day, air parts, 4 hour. Some of it is 4 hours, 7 days, 24 hours a day.
Is that a streamlined process? Have they told you anything about the process for maintenance for the, you have the number to call? How does that work?
Most of it is
Is this one
automated.
dedicated? We have
It's
dedicated?
It's mostly automated.
What do you mean by automated?
Something goes out, it emails to a Cisco rep who calls us and says, you have a power outage, processor bad, or whatever it is. If it's a power supply, then they'll chip it to me and I put it in.
What's the turnaround time?
Next day.
Can I give an opinion? Is that okay, Mayor?
Yeah, I asked for it.
This is what I do for a living, okay? I can tell you that this is not something that you want to put on the back burner. I can promise you that. It's something that, every day we become more and more modern, okay? If we don't keep up with the times, we get left behind. Okay, you're gonna run a situation where we don't have any redundancy, and then it's gonna cause us business, right? In my opinion, I think you should go forward with it, especially based on pricing. I don't know if you can get better pricing than that. That's what I
Pricing
do.
is discounted by government. We don't have to procure it. It's already procured for us. So they already give us X number from the governmental sites that we buy from. If you were buying from the general business, you'd pay a lot more than that.
Right, and I'm on the business side. Okay, I would recommend that you go ahead and do it. That's up to me to talk to the council, I'm not on council yet, but, it's a good deal.
You gotta pay for it, I know.
This
why
isn't a situation where, where if something were to happen, the redundancy for these is you'd be down, right? You wouldn't have any opportunity for anything. It's, it's, what would we do without internet right now? Think about that. This entire site of the police station would go down. What type of liabilities we have if we were to have a course which that would go down? That's a really, really bad situation, especially in the police department. And especially when it comes to redundancy, start moving things to the cloud. That's the most reliable resource in the United States right now. So I would say that it's a good opportunity. That's just my professional opinion on what I do.
So do you need a motion, Frank, to go forward?
I don't know, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, I'd have to have authorization to sign the financing agreement, is what I know.
I'll make the motion for Mr. Taylor to sign the finance agreement to move this forward.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to authorize town manager to move forward with the agreements for our computer or hardware system needs. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Bonnie?
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Council, there've been a request, and I'll ask Amy if she's able to talk to this, but there was a request, and don't make fun of my drawings, but that's best I can get you. I couldn't get a 3D, I'm sorry. But that gives you an idea about the drive-through window request that we had last month. It's basically, if you look at those drawings, gives you kind of an idea. We're trying to build this little section underneath the dental mold of the building. So it'll basically just be a small room that will stick out toward the, I think Amy sent you an email, the west front end of the building that ties into collections where those windows are. So the folks will be able to drive up to that window. And if you look at the sketch that's actually looking at the top view, the black would be the pavement, the gray would be the sidewalk. The little extension that you see out on the sidewalk would be the extension from the collections. So it's just one small room, just like you similar to a bank, and it has 3 windows in it, and it would be the character of the gable would match the front of the building, and we'd use the same type of tin roof. And the cost estimates were, Ava, you have those? Can you speak to that?
The cost estimates were close to 40,000, a little less than 40,000 for the budgeted figure.
And we have 32,000 maybe, or?
Approximately 32,000 left in COVID money that was approved by Eric Young to use for the drive-through window purpose.
So I guess if council wants to go through with this, we could get approval, and then if we would have to appropriate a few more dollars once we get the final numbers on the construction. Again, that's an estimate, but I think it may come in a little bit cheaper if we try to work with it, but we'll have to have a little bit of money, I'm sure. Based on 40,000 budget, we probably should vote on it if you appropriate 8,000 or so. I think in today's time, we just, before y'all talk about it, if we do want to take it into consideration, COVID is really working pretty hard on our staff. It's affected the wastewater plant, the water plant, the rec park, the sanitation and the street department. It's hit a lot of our parks in different forms and fashion. It's very difficult to work and produce and do the necessary, essential work for our community without being exposed in some form or fashion, no matter what you do. We really tried hard, and everybody's tried hard, but ultimately it has worked within our ranks. So, this element would really help at least the exposures that the ladies have. We're getting plenty of exercise going forward, but this will help now and future, if people allow to do that. So it's for your consideration. Adrian, do you have anything else to add? It's in your department.
I don't think so unless there are questions.
How soon would we plan to get started and how long would the project take?
The obligation for the money, we actually have to do something, Connie, can you do this? I can't remember. If they do, as long as it's in progress, is that correct?
Yes, we need to go ahead and get a contract on it, they need to go ahead and be starting on it. Eric just said if it wasn't finished, but we was in the process of doing it, and they would allow us to allocate that money, because all this money was supposed to be spent by the end of December.
This was a contract job, not a town job. That's why it's expensive as it is. We've got a contract looking at it, a couple of them actually. So.
You're saying we gotta break ground before the end of December?
Yes.
The only thing I ask you to do is call Highlands Glass and get them involved. That's all I'm gonna ask you to do. And I'll let them.
I think we use those as a vendor.
If you'll use them, the price will come down because they do it in glass panels.
I think they're the one that put the glass in the hallway.
Yeah.
So we ordered
We use them for regular.
Well, let them, give them the opportunity to do it.
Well, we'll have to do it to the contractor. We'll steer them that way.
There'd still be interaction if they open the window and they're touching.
It's a drawer.
It's a drawer.
Slide in, slide out.
Like
So
a
the
bank.
window won't open.
Like a bank.
Or is it a drive up or do you walk up to it?
No, it's not. You can see there's about a foot of sidewalk there that allows that little door to come out and go to the car. And the overhang will come even with the sidewalk from the gate. Now, it doesn't, I mean, you can't see that on that. That's what it's designed for.
I just got a hard time spending that money right now. We just spent $238,000.
Well, you're actually only gonna spend probably $8,000.
Well, I know. Is there something else we can spend the $32,000 on? I mean, other than a drive-in limit? I mean, there's gotta be something productive we can look at. That's a lot of money. And plus, we're not collecting, I mean, let's look at our collections on unpaid utility bills
Well, you
right now.
can't use that money for that.
Well, I know that, but what I'm saying is we're not making any money right now. I mean, or what we're losing on collections from what I'm saying.
Most of this money will be geared for PPE. We can buy additional PPE. We might get creative a little bit, maybe with some of the telecom, like we've done in here. But a lot of people have done it with temperature sensors, automations, and things like that. But we kind of didn't feel like that was the right way to spend it. We found better ways to spend it. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly up to council. It does eliminate. We do have a lot of fall hazards out front, to be honest with you. Steps, we've had that over the years. It would eliminate some of that too, even during non-COVID times. I never was that good, I'll be honest with you. Prior to, neither was some of the council members. The building was built because everybody kind of liked the social atmosphere of the building, really. But times have changed. But I mean, Adrian, can you speak about staff? Is it something that you support or don't support? I mean, if there's better ways to spend it, now's the time to talk about it.
It is something I support because obviously it was my idea, but if council has better ideas of ways to spend that money on preparedness or PPE, certainly we would be glad to entertain that.
I think.
I think-
Can I say something? On the PPE items like FEMA, They said if we run out of money, you know, we could apply with them to give us money back, like if we had 5 more masks and any type of things like that directly with just PPE items. We could use it for the 32,000, but if we use it for the window, we could also go to FEMA and request money back. All thing we have to do is show the receipt. The only thing they would cover would be items like that, but we still have opportunities to buy things like that we need. We have other options to buy things like that. But, if you don't go with the window this time, I think it would be hard to get that money anywhere else. We'd end up having to pay the whole $40,000.
Tim, can we cut the sidewalk out and just put the window inside and not build a house?
You could drive, you think like next.
I mean, you could cut the sidewalk out and put the window in the side of the building. I think that would be a lot cheaper than building a building out on the building. I mean, I see the need for the window, but building a window and stuff out, if we could cut the sidewalk and take out to the building where the cars could come up and come in.
The only big problem I see with that is that we can't go really in the second window because we've got an underground duct bank of fiber and everything that's going in that area. It'd be hard we might could avoid that, not to do that. You'd have to go in the second window because the other thing to maneuver is there's the front sidewalks. If you did do that. We could look at that. I mean, I haven't looked at that, but we could look at that. Obviously. Yeah. Putting a chair there in that hallway, I'm not sure that would work either with David, because that would, there's no room for a person to sit there, is there, to make that turn? Oh, that's steady. That's a good concept,
I'm just trying to get us in there because the wind is pretty important because it's no interaction.
Right. You'd have to have a person be able to sit that one window
And ain't nobody coming going in the office anyway, so it really, that's not gonna be a problem. I don't think you'd be handling it with cash. Yeah.
But 32,000, what could you spend it on other than that? I guess you gotta look at that too. You get 32,000 to build a building. Okay, if you don't build the little shack, what can you spend the 32 on?
Well, we have needs, like we have police car type needs there, but they're 50, you gotta have more money to them. Ambulance obviously be great, that's $4 million, so don't have to that. We can buy.
You spend on the computer system?
For this, we asked, but we haven't got an answer, to be quite frankly. We asked, but we haven't got an answer on that. I believe it, no, but we'll ask. We can ask for that, but I kind of run out of time to plan this.
Computers, the virus system.
I mean, it'd be nice if they have some of this Dale stuff. It'd be great. We could pay our first payment for it.
Could we have a contingency if we turn down, when would you know about the computers?
Frank, did you get any response to about that? I can't remember.
I'm sorry, for
Did
what?
you get a response that we asked, some other communities about using this to buy, equipment like servers and so forth? Did we get a real good answer on that?
Our Cisco rep says he has, sold merchandise to government organizations that did use COVID money. When I spoke with Connie, I don't think the county has any COVID money left.
With this 32,000 we already have.
Yeah, we've already got this one in there.
It's approximately 32, I don't know the exact number, but it's close.
What was the source, Adrian? Was that HHS or do you know?
No, it was part of the CARES Act funding that came from the county. Remember, we received funding for the businesses.
Right.
And we also received funding to reimburse us for previously purchased PPE equipment, and we received some funding for preparedness. So this was money that we had left in preparedness. So we were trying to find effective and efficient ways to use that funding that would benefit us during the pandemic and even for future purposes.
I have a question. how are we in our supply of the chemicals, the things that you put in the, for lack of a better term, the sprayers that you use to like disinfect the town hall, police department, rec department, vehicles and so forth?
I don't know, do you know,
Nobody's requested any more things from me, so. We
I
got
think you
a pretty
have,
good supply the last minute that we got, so
I think you have gallons.
it should be lots,
Yeah, you should have plenty of that.
yeah,
All they have to do is spray it.
yeah. They
They've
should
got,
be
they've
plenty
got,
right
you've got
now.
3 or 4 sprayers, and I've heard you've got gallons of it to spray.
Yeah.
If there's no other way to spend that 32,000, I mean, you could do it on contingency. If there's no other way to spend that 32, just my feeling, go ahead and build it. If that's the only way, if that's the only money, if that's the only way you can spend that money, that's my feeling.
do you want to prioritize the computer equipment, try to sit the county with Diane, and see, or not? You just don't know.
Sure. Might as well. Yeah, computer. I mean, from what I hear, we need computers, what's gonna do the drive-through.
Well, you need not just computers, but this plan.
Or the system, I'm sorry.
But
I mean,
we got some laptops.
Could we have a plan A and a plan B?
I don't know if we can
That's
match
what I'm saying, I was just
Yeah,
trying to work
right.
out.
I'm with Jim. Just have a plan A if you can get the Cisco system with it, and you can't do that. then
Absolutely, if the money can be used for the computer system, that would be excellent. We just have to be able to prove, and explain to the county that that's a COVID-related issue, that it's preparing us in the pandemic. So that's the only issue. If we can do that and it passes through a single audit with our auditors and they say that that wasn't just a maintenance need and it was a need during the pandemic, then that would be great. But that may be the issue we run into, but it's worth a shot for sure.
Okay, could we do it this way, Adrian? Council agrees, is try to get an answer before the end of the month so that we don't lose the 32. And if we're turned down on that, then give Mr. Taylor the power to start this project and break ground before we lose it. Would that be a compromise?
Yes, I think we should probably contact Eric Young tomorrow.
Because I'm sorry, Adrian, go ahead.
I just said as soon as possible, we need to get an answer on that.
So would
Yes, because you have to actually break ground, correct? And as far as the contractors that are interested, I mean, it's December 8th, and, you know, most really good contractors are busy. So the longer we wait, how likely is it that somebody's gonna wait on us?
if she found out tomorrow, Marianne, I think you're gonna contact them tomorrow, Adrian, and try to get an answer.
I think we probably need to contact Eric Young as soon as possible. My understanding from Connie, I know she talked to him, is that we don't have to break ground, but we do have to have a contract in place and a process in place to begin the work if we do the drive-through. Certainly.
So you'd have,
And close to break ground, isn't it?
so you'd have a few days, 2 or 3 days, you could figure it out. And if we gave Mr. Taylor, the directive, if that falls through, then he can go ahead with, would you be willing to do that? What do you think, Jed?
Well, yeah, like I said, if there weren't any other avenues for that 32,000, that was definitely, I mean, that about paid for the whole project, sounds like.
Well, we have to give, Mr. Taylor a directive, because we won't be meeting again, to go ahead, if that's okay.
Well,
I have a question.
I guess we'll make money, no?
And question, because in the drawing is not in the packet. Mary Ann, I believe you don't have it either, is that right?
I don't.
They emailed it today, if you want to check your email.
I must have missed that. Is it possible, that we could put it on a table or whatever, and Frank could share that drawing with us?
Well, the drawing don't tell you very much.
It's pretty.
It looks like a little owl.
Be careful.
I'm not an architect. Take two lines and run them down there about 6 inches apart, and then put a triangle on top of them. I like the circle though.
Okay, so
I'll shoot it to you.
But I would like for Tim to figure out if we can just put a window inside the building instead of,
We can look at that, that would be pretty easy, we could do that in-house.
I mean, that would be paid for, that we don't have to have money to, too, and it still gives us a drive-through.
You could do both.
Would we lose the 32?
And if we could use the rest of the money over on the computer system, we're in good shape. So we waited out.
If I may suggest, why don't we direct him to find out from the county if we can use CARES money for the computer system? If we can, then that's what we direct him to do. If not, because even if we use the CARES money, we're still gonna allocate $8,000. I think we might be coming here putting that window in for $8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if the county will allow us to use the CARES money, then we ought to use it for this computer cost that we got coming up.
Well, I'm thinking,
If not, then we need to get a contract on the shed and get it built.
what I'm thinking, we just use so much for the window, and the town ain't out of no money, they put the rest of it over on the computer system. That's what I was
Well,
saying.
let's do it. Now, that's, how are we gonna give him the definitive direction on what to do?
Do you want me to consensus or?
No, you'll have to vote on this because it's appropriate.
I'll make the motion that we do that, directed to have a plan A, which is use it on the computer, and plan B, if we're turned down, then give him the directive to go ahead with the shack. Well, the window.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Yes, I'll make the second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Rick, you seconded it, right?
Yes, I second.
I'm not pulling off on the drawing.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Richard,
Yeah.
Rod.
yes,
Motion carried. It does help me understand why you want somebody to do the pavilion at the green.
I told you I lost my people, you didn't look at that. I'm on the drawer.
Okay.
The only thing I'd add is I know we're going to close session, but I wanted to also wish all the council members a real great work with you for another year. Jeff, your tenure, I appreciate, your service to our community as a taxpayer and also as a staff member. I appreciate your influence. Everybody, I appreciate it. Merry Christmas, to your families, and happy New Year. That's all I have.
All right. Give us in
We need to take it over the emergency ordinance.
yes, okay, yes. Could you read that for us?
I will. And again, this is, I believe we sent the email out this evening and provided everybody with a copy of this. This ordinance effectively just readopts the previous, emergency ordinance that council, adopted back in November. I'll quickly read through this. It's considerably shorter than the first one. Whereas on November 10th, 2020, the town council unanimously voted to adopt O 2020-1103, which provided for certain emergency measures regarding the modification of public hearing practices and procedures and to address continuity of operations associated with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas O 2020-1103 is set to expire on January 10, 2021, 60 days from its original adoption. Whereas current COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing and local cases continue to escalate in the Tazewell County area and nationwide, the council now desires to re-adopt O 2020-1103 in its entirety for an additional 60-day period. Now therefore be it ordained by the town council of Richlands, Virginia, that O 2020-1103, otherwise known as the emergency ordinance, to re-effectuate and continue temporary changes in certain deadlines and to modify public meeting and public hearing practices and procedures to address continuity of operations associated with the COVID-19 pandemic disaster is hereby readopted in its entirety for an additional 60-day period. Mr. Mayor, if you would entertain a motion from council to waive the second reading of this ordinance.
I will entertain a motion to waive the second reading of the ordinance.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and seconded. Ron?
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And if you now will entertain a motion to adopt that ordinance.
For 60 days, the most we can do.
Yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll make the motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll second.
And a second, any discussion?
I do have a question about that.
Okay.
I think that, I don't have it in front of me actually, but I think, is that the ordinance that has Ms. Brown as the clerk of the council on above?
Yes.
It does.
I'll have to change it.
Would it be proper for that to be stricken and let Ms. Allen sign that as clerk since we appointed her as interim?
Yes, when I drafted this, rather, I was unsure if the clerk was going to be on that, so yeah, we can strike that out and make sure that's appropriate.
Thank you.
Other questions? Roll call vote.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, if you would entertain one more motion that, as to whether that this ordinance will be adopted as an emergency measure to take effect immediately and not 30 days as the charter otherwise dictates.
Do I have a motion? For
I'll make that motion.
For this, Richard made a motion, and have a second.
I'll second it.
Second discussion. Fine.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Yes.
Motion carried. You want to do some closed session now? Please.
Mr. Mayor, if you would entertain a motion to move into executive session pursuant to 2.23711A1 to discuss personnel, pursuant to 2.23711A7 to discuss actual or probable litigation, pursuant to 2.23711A8 for consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal issues, specifically charter amendment process, and 2.23711A29 for negotiation of public contract.
I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion,
I'll gladly second
second.
it. What was it, Archie?
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rod.
Motion
Yes.
carries. Let's take about a 5-minute break and then come back into the session. Okay, everybody.
Sounds good.
See, what I mean,
Those when you're ready,
Yes, Rick.
can you get us back in?
Mr. Mayor, if you would entertain a motion to come back into open session and also to certify that the topics and subjects discussed in executive session were those lawfully permitted and moved into.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, Connie?
Jeff.
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Okay, we're back in regular session. Tim, you have one more?
I do have one thing I forgot earlier. I wanted to announce that, Hobart Lester will be retiring, from the town December 31st. I wanted, if y'all don't mind, if you see him, to really show some appreciation. He's given us almost 40 years worth of service in his service to the town. And he'll be a great loss to us, but, he is retiring. I just want to announce that publicly. We'll have his replacement in place next week. That's all.
All right, when's Bart coming back?
Monday, 6 o'clock,
Monday at 6, that day is
December 14th, I think.
14th, okay.
So we need to
So we need
recess.
to recess.
We're recessed till then, yes.
We need to, I'll make a motion to recess this meeting to November, December 14th, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to recess until December 14th at 6 P.M. Roll call vote, Connie?
Jeff,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Motion carried. We are in recess.